is a classic challenge. It's an iconic challenge, the English Channel, and it's called to aviators for generations. And it's something, the White Cliffs of Dover. I'm American, and it even calls to me.
This stretch of water has been crossed many times, many ways, but never like this. One man in a wicker chair, buoyed by more than 50 balloons filled with helium. For Jonathan Trapp, this is the culmination of an aviation dream.
It's just something, just a challenge that we feel we can accomplish, and we're going to give it our best run.
It's only a distance of 22 miles across the channel, but Jonathan's team is planning every inch of the way. And that work starts here at Kent Gliding Club near Ashford.
These are rolled polyurethane. These we can reuse. These don't pop if subjected to trauma. If you poke it with a pin or a knife, they get a hole. They don't fail. These are the chloroprene balloons.
The American adventurer is a qualified pilot who leaves nothing to chance.
The neck of the balloon actually goes through the carabiner, comes back on itself, gets zip tied.
His support team have been here with him, going through everything needed to make their mission a success. And while the end result of this project is a strange sight,
1, 2, 3.
there is a science behind it.
So we're coming out of here, Challeck. You can see that line I keep talking about the airspace.
Preparation is meticulous.
So that gives me a rate of climb. It's barometric.
Among the many issues to contend with, using British helium gas, which has a different purity to the US kind, not to mention getting permission for the audacious flight, and the age-old English problem.
The first thing is weather. Just generally flying, that's perhaps the most important thing. Half of it is weather and a proper respect for weather. Weather in this area is very tricky. You can have one weather system great on one side of the channel and different on the other side of the channel. So in terms of weather, that's the big one. We have a meteorologist on the team that will help us interpret the weather data to make sure that we make the decision to fly on a day that will have a high probability of success.
Now ready for the D-tier balloons.
The fine-tuning continues in the early hours of the morning, and there's still time for a few more adjustments. Everything has to be perfect, because if it isn't, Jonathan knows only too well what could happen. If there was any last-minute anxiety, he hid it well.
We've been planning this for several months. Hundreds of hours were put into this little adventure across the channel. So we're tremendously excited, and I'm a little nervous. I've got 75 nautical miles before I see land again. Tremendously pleased to be out here. It's beautiful and great adventures. So that other type of balloon where we put the zip ties on, good. We'll have 3 of each of those.
Everything is checked and checked again. There's just time for a good luck kiss from girlfriend Lydia, and then it's launch time. A handful of well-wishers on hand to watch as one man and his balloon cluster soar away.
3 cheers for Jonathan. Hip hip!
Destination, a field in Calais, or if the wind shifts, maybe somewhere in Belgium. It was a spectacular flight, and this was the view from Jonathan's own camcorder. On and on he floated, trouble-free, towards Dunkirk. He also had with him a pair of scissors, essential for when the time came to come down. By snipping away the balloon strings, he brought the journey to an end and landed in a cabbage patch near Dunkirk, where he was met by Sky News reporter Tessa Chapman.
Oh, tremendously proud. You know, it's just been an outstanding thing to do. And it's not really about flying balloons. Not really. You know, it's about dreams and inspiration and accomplishing what we set out to do, whatever that is. So that's what I'm happy about.
Did some people say you're crazy? Why are you doing this? You can't do it.
Oh yeah, very clearly. Usually they don't understand the system and what the thought we put into it and the effort we put into it. Almost nobody who looks at what we put into it thinks it's crazy.
Because, I mean, this is a sport, isn't it? Cluster ballooning, it's recognised, and you had a lot of technical help, didn't you?
It's a terribly tiny sport. Maybe a half dozen people worldwide doing it semi-actively. There's two in the United States. So it's a very tiny sport. It's very welcoming. If you're interested in becoming a pilot, we'll show you how to fly it.
I'd love to have a go.
Outstanding.
Give us some statistics about today's trip. How far did you go? How high did you go?
I had to pull it off the GPS actually, but roughly 7,500 feet was the peak mid-channel. There's airspace restrictions, 3,500, 5,500, 6,500 as you come out, so I couldn't go higher than that. So complying with your UKCAA, airspace regulations, we kept it low in Kent and then stepped it out as I got higher above the channel. Then I took it down all the way to the water, just a couple hundred feet off the water, where I could hear the waves.
There aren't many people who must have experienced the pure calm above the channel as you did.
That's true. It is incredibly, it is unique. A hot air balloon it's beautiful, but makes this huge roar. Only a gas balloon. This is the only kind of aircraft that flies in complete silence, and that's what we had over the channel. I could hear, like I said, I could hear the waves. I'm 1,000 feet in the air, and I hear the waves below me.
Now, we were chasing you. We took the train under the channel, as did your ground crew, and it was difficult to find you once we spotted you in the air. You really were moving at quite a rate, weren't you? And tell us about your descent, because I understand it's quite a rudimentary way to come down.
I planted it in this field because there's a restricted area right over here. I was about 4,000 feet, and there's a restricted area from 1,100 feet to 4,000. So I either had to go over it or under it and land, and I was not going to violate that airspace. So that's why you saw me coming down so sharp, so I could land and not violate that airspace. So you say rudimentary, I pulled the balloons down to me, and I have a lovely knife, and I take it to the cell, and it fails catastrophically, vents the gas, and allows us to come down.
And there are some gendarmes waiting for you now. I understand you do now need to go through customs. They're going to take you to the airport, aren't they?
That's exactly right. Very gracious of them, and we'll see how that goes.
An unconventional ending to this most unusual of journeys. Now Jonathan Trapp can reflect on his latest achievement in aviation and dream about the next. Enda Brady, Sky News.